Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Farah Nazira and today I would like to talk about a trade movement in rural area of Sabah. There are a few of trade movement issues in rural area of Sabah. Firstly, poor and bad condition of the roads. Road connectivity and accessibility play a big role in the movement of trade in Sabah. Road condition will affect travel times and reduce consumer demand for access to a better lifestyle. Secondly is the quality of life. The level of quality of life is different depending on the environment and living condition. Rural communities typically have a low socio-economy and living standard. And the last one is basic infrastructure and amenities. People living in rural areas have a limited access to their daily basic needs, such as communication and education facilities. Next is the challenges of the issues. Firstly, geographic barrier. Geography and trade are interrelated because transportation allows trade with a wide area. This is because geographical location directly influence the movement of people and thus the movement of trade. Secondly, distance barrier. Distance is commonly the most basic condition that affecting transportation costs. The longer the distance that goods need to travel, the higher the trade or transportation costs, thus reducing trade flows in rural area. And the last one is technological and e-commerce growth. Technological development in rural area is low due to technological challenges such as internet connectivity and limited digital skills.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Fatimah Syafiqah binti Zakaria. So today I would like to present my poster which is movement of trade at rural area. I choose rural area in Malaysia which is at Terengganu. The issue at rural area have a slow movement of trade and affect quality of life in terms of safety and health, education and also transport. So next, look at the challenge to the issue. First of all is safety and health. Movement of medic and equipment for medical was slow compared to the city. This is because of usually supplier will supply the medical and the equipment of the medical to the city first, and then the hospital from the city will supply it to the rural area. This is because of the road transport at rural area was not suitable with the suppliers transport such as lorry, so that they cannot use the wooden bridge such as example that I show in my poster. And then the next one is education. Technology for education was slow because of movement of trade, which is late to get a new technology such as laptop. Nowadays, due to COVID-19, all the students from university, primary school or secondary school will use the internet connection. But looking at the house at the rural area, such as I show you in my poster, the surrounding of the house is full of trees, such as coconut trees, that will affect the internet connection to the student. So that the student need to find another area to ensure that they will not left behind in their education. And also, government also prepare a free laptop for the B40 students, and usually B40 students at the city will got it first compared to the students at the rural area. So they will get the such as laptop, but then they will got it late than the people at the city. This is because of movement of trade and also because of the transport. Now look at the challenge to the issue on transport. Movement of trade will affect to transport at rural area, which is lack of transport at rural area. Usually at rural area, they have a transport, but then like such as they have a bridge, but then a bridge from the wooden. They also have a bridge from the brick, but the safety was not safe, such as for the bridge from brick, it is strong, but the security was not secure as the bridge at the town. So that in my poster I have two examples of bridge at the rural area, but these two bridge are a big transport such as a lorry, bus, so they cannot use this bridge because of not strong for the transport to use it. So this is all the challenge of the movement of trade in rural area at Terengganu. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening to my lecturers and my fellow friends. My name is Ifanaja binti Zabani from class BA2474B, and I'm going to do a presentation based on the topic of the issue and challenges at rural area that located in Indonesia. Basically, as we know, Indonesia is a country in Southeast Asia and Oceania between Indian and Pacific Ocean. It also known as the most poor people there in this country. The issue at Indonesia is they have facing the standard living of people there in a low stage and have affected in many sectors. In Indonesia, it can be seen by mostly people there come from poor people but still become more poor. But for the rich people there, they become richer. We can see that it has a huge gap towards them. Okay. Next, there are some challenges of issues that can be affected to the country in terms of to get succeed in the movement of trade in rural area. Firstly, as we can see the infrastructure factors. In this factor, Indonesia has a lot of inadequate infrastructure that involving the road and ports infrastructure that in a poor condition, thus it have a limited access to modern water and sanitation system. Because of this condition, it can make more difficult in achieving the successful of trade activities there. Okay, moreover, internet and communication factor. Indonesia, mostly people stay at rural area or they have a problem in the internet and communication channel. This is because in rural area, the internet connection is very low and it will difficult to the entrepreneur, factory and other team to achieve in getting the successful of trade activity. Internet is very important in our life in nowadays because we can get all the information through the smartphone at the same time. Thus, we can expand the trade activities in worldwide if the internet and communication channel have been increasing from day to day. Then, safety and health factors. Usually, government did not provide more equipment of medical and health to the society in a rural area because the government have stated a limited amount about it. As you can see, the pandemic of COVID-19 nowadays, the cases of COVID-19 have been increased drastically in the rural area because all those equipment are not enough to the society. It also can be affecting the activity of trade that operated there. After that, transportation factors. Indonesia is still lack of having a proper mode transportation, especially in the rural area, and it more focuses on the land and public transportation there. With this way, Indonesia cannot get a successful trade activities because of the transportation factor is very important in achieving the trade activity. By having a lack of transportation, all the workflows and progress of trade activity can be delayed and difficult to achieve. Lastly, we can see the education level factors. People in rural area comes from low-income household, and most of them, their children cannot get a perfect education level, like family that stay at city, which means they get a high-income household. Most of the children in rural area, they need to work to help their parents in order to improve the quality of life on that time. By having many people get a low education, the activity of trade cannot be expanded in worldwide, and it might be Indonesia be a country always step back at behind. Okay, based on the pandemic COVID-19, Nowadays, all students need to change the method of learning by mostly the government prefer they use the online platform learning, and they need to use the laptop and smartphone to improve the method of education levels. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Dayang Maziah, and I will present about the issues and challenges of the movement of trade in India's rural area. For the issue of the movement of trade in India's rural area, there are three main points. Firstly is poor road networks. Most of the road network is rural roads that do not allow the smooth transit of heavy vehicles meant to transport goods across states. This results in lower truck speeds and delays in transportation of goods across the states. Secondly is infrastructure bottlenecks. Export development has been hindered by infrastructure deficiencies such as energy shortages, inadequate and unreliable transportation and communication facilities. Power breakdowns and shortages are so common that they frequently disrupt production schedules, increase costs, and delay shipments. And thirdly is inadequacy of trade information system. Because there are still no proper communication facilities, it is impossible to rely on the internet for up-to-date trade information. Even if the services are available, they are prohibitively expensive. This is why some of the developed countries would not like to trade with a country whose exporters and importers cannot even complete necessary formalities through the electronic data interchange. Next, I will further explain about the challenges of the movement of trade in India's rural area. There are three main points as well. Firstly is infrastructure-related challenges. There is limited value addition that is specific to the retail industry. This is due to a lack of knowledge about the sector. Furthermore, the majority of warehouses are either manually handled or have inappropriate levels of automation. Secondly is supply chain related challenges. India's retail supply chain suffers due to presence of multiple intermediaries. There are as many as 5 intermediaries in a typical supply chain for perishable commodities such as fruits and vegetables. These intermediaries not only cause a huge delay in product reaching retailers from farmers, but they also increase the final customer's cost by adding their own margins. Last but not least is shortage of skilled manpower. The unorganized and fragmented nature of the industry has led to problems relating to inefficient organization, lack of leadership, disjointed skills and positions, and lack of process-driven IT system. This is particularly true in the early stages of the industry, which is struggling to overcome critical infrastructure-related and organizational challenges.
Hello, today I would like to present about my poster. My poster is all about the importance of transport infrastructure in rural area which can facilitate trade. Firstly, the provision of efficient trade facilitation and passenger transportation services. It supports key economic activity and eliminates barrier of competitions. It will also provide a smooth journey for any goods. Next, it offers a high accessibility level to all community who live in rural area. For example, the movement of goods or passenger, it could reach a wider area that is maybe in rural or from rural to urban city. After that, it will alleviate poverty. It is because whenever there is a new infrastructure or transport infrastructure, there will be a job vacancy for people or community to fit in, so that they will increase the employment rate within the rural area. This is very important. Lastly, the important is improve the traffic. I give you an example. During the heavy rains, reasonable delays must occur so that we cannot crossing the rivers. Some off roads maybe are temporarily closed during the situation. Okay, this situation, if the traffic are improved, this situation must be tolerated. Like we can cope with the situation. That's all. Thank you.